beginning of the Sefer starts as follows. Now that we finished the introduction. It says, Emunah, faith, is a refined tendency of the soul. Midat Emunah היא נטייה דקה מעדינות הנפש. אם האדם הוא בעל נפש, ושעתו, שעת השקט, חופשי מרעבון תאווני, ואינו מרהיבה ממחזה שמיים לרום, והארץ לעומק, הוא נרגש ונדהם כי לעולם נדמה לפניו כחידה סתומה, כמוסה ונפלאה, והחידה הזאת מלפפת את לבבו ומוחו, והוא כמתעלף, לא נשאר בו רוח חיים, בלתי אל החידה, כל מעיינו ומגמתו, ודעת פתרונה, קלטה נפשו ונבחר לו לבוא באש ובמים בשבילה, כי מה לו ולחיים, אם החיים הנעימים האלו נעלמים ממנו תכלית העלם, ונפשו סחרחרה והאבלה וכמאה להבין סודה ולדעת שרשה והשערים ננעלו. Translation of the first sentence, not the whole thing I just read. Not really sure why I read the whole thing. Emunah is, because we're going to analyze this like we did with the Yeret Ramban and some of the other things, because each one of the things he says is you delve into it and you realize that that alone is a shiur by itself. It says Emunah is a refined tendency of the soul. If a person is sensitive and is in a state of equilibrium, free of any bodily desires, so first he teaches us that in order to attain Emunah, in order to have this extraordinary midah, a person has to be sensitive. Meaning that thick skin that you show the rest of the world, you continue showing them. But when it comes to your relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, no thick skin. You have to be sensitive. You have to be so sensitive that you have to analyze every single one of your actions. You have to analyze every single thing that you do. There's no playing hard with Hashem. No playing like, oh no, this doesn't affect me. HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows exactly what's affecting you, what's not. That means that the more sensitive you are, the easier it's going to be for you not only to cry during your prayer, not only to cry during your conversations with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but also to acknowledge the things that are going on in the world and in your own life. Because if a person is sensitive and is in a state of equilibrium, meaning that he is calm, collected, paying attention, not in a panic about toilet paper, then he's already going to be able to acquire this Emunah. But what else gets in the way of Emunah? He says he has to be free of any bodily desires. What does bodily desires have to do with Emunah? He says, Chofshi mere'avon ta'avani. If your bodily desires control your life, you will never have Emunah. If money, food, sex, people's acknowledgement, kavod, honor, respect, if those things are a constant driver to your life, you will never acquire Emunah. He's not saying it will be hard. He says, so long as you have these bodily desires, there's no conversation. To acquire this Emunah, you have to be free of these bodily desires. Not at all times, but at the times that you're paying attention to certain things. You want to get to a point, you want to understand what's going on right now. Should I panic? Not panic. Should I do the right thing? Should I do the wrong thing? Should I marry? Not marry? Should I buy? Should I sell? Should I learn? Not learn? Whatever you're doing, you have to free your mind. You have to free your mind from all things that have to do with physical desire. Because so long as you are dealing with your physical desire, it'll distort your mind. It'll distort your thought. This is why the Shulchan Aruch says that you're not supposed to eat when you're learning Torah. Now, if you're eating in order to stay awake, let's say for example you're at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and you already learned for a little while, and now you're falling asleep, it's late. You already woke up early in the morning, you're at night, and you need something. You need something to stay up. It's not necessarily 3 o'clock in the morning, it's in the afternoon, you're just tired or whatever it is, or you have a yetzirah that's making you tired, and you're eating not for the sake of eating, you're chewing gum or whatever you're eating, you're drinking coffee, not for the sake of eating, but rather just to move your mouth, and it's known that if you move your mouth, it's it helps your brain stay alert and stay up. That's a different story. It's a different story, that's okay. But if you're eating for the sake of eating, you're not going to be able to learn. You're not going to be able to learn. If there is a serious conversation that has to be made about marriage, divorce, chas v'shalom, business, whatever it is, while you're eating, you're not really 100% paying attention. You know, people have dinner meetings. Oh, let's meet during dinner, let's have dinner, we'll talk business. Yeah. Complete waste of time. While you're eating. After you finish eating, talk as much as you want. Well, aside from it being really disgusting to see people eat and talk at the same time, kind of dangerous for your eyes also, you're not focused. You're not focused. Why? You're focused on the steak. You're focused on this food that you're eating. You don't care what he's saying. You don't care what she's saying. She's talking to you about her day being difficult, and you know the kids are driving her crazy, and the bills are not being paid. And you go, yeah, this is really good. Wow, good. Yeah. You're not paying attention. Finish eating, then talk. Why? It's not just for Torah. It's for anything. It's for anything. If you are satisfied, so long as you're satisfying a physical desire, your brain is not clear. Now, if you're just talking nothing, you're just basic talk. How you doing? 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 Fine, do whatever you want. You know, it's like when people go to Brit Milah and they have nothing to talk about. What do they talk about? Oh, so how much did the baby weigh? What are you, like the government? Were you responsible for the birth certificate? You gonna write it? What do you care how much the baby weighed? What are they gonna call him? What are you gonna call him? What are you going to make him a poster? What do you care about that? This is nonsense conversations. Meaningless conversations. How much did he weigh? What is he going to eat? Is she going to breastfeed? Is she going to this? What do you care? Meaningless conversations. Just because you have nothing to say. Whatever. You have one of those conversations, you can eat as much as you want. It's better you eat than talk. It's one of those conversations. Eat kappa. Eat. But if it's a serious conversation, want to give it Dvar Torah? Don't eat while you're doing Dvar Torah. You're going to learn? Don't eat while you're learning. You have a conversation with your wife about something serious? Don't eat while you have. Finish first, then have. Why? If it's serious, you have to have your mind clear. And so long as you're meeting or satisfying a physical desire, the Chazon Ish says, your mind's not going to be clear. Needless to say, you're never going to arrive at Emunah, which requires a clear mind. Emunah requires a clear mind because it's required that you understand everything that's going on. Not just the situation, but the world around it. You're analyzing not just Corona. You're analyzing everything around it. Who, what, when, how, where, this, that, everything. Not just the shul, but the community. Not just the house, But the whole neighborhood, the city, the schools, the shuls, you analyze, in order to have a clear understanding, it's everything. He also says, and he also has to be in a calm state. If you're panicking, it's not the right time to make a decision. Just as much as it's not a right time to think that you're going to have emunah in the middle of panic. You know, people sometimes say, no, when I was panicking, but then I made the right decision. I had emunah in Hashem. That's not emunah, it's desperation. No, everything was going bad, but I said, no, Hashem's going to do it, and I pressed the button. No, you pressed the button because you only had two options. That's not emunah. If you were panicking, that's not emunah. That's not bitachon. It's not bitachon. Emunah and bitachon are only exercised when you're calm, collected, and you make a decision based on analyzing all of the information. Even if the whole world is collapsing, you're still analyzing the situation for what it is, purely with your mind and not with your heart. So long as you're losing your mind, panicking, full of anxiety, whatever decision you make may have some emunah in it, may have some bitachon in it, which will explain the difference in a moment, but it's still not going to be 100%. Why? There's still emotions involved there that are steering the decision one side or the other. In order for it to be complete, you have to simply analyze the facts like a doctor. You know, doctors, the better they are at what they do, the more disconnected they are from reality. Meaning, a surgeon that's a good surgeon cannot be your best friend too while he's giving you surgery. Why? Because if he cares too much about you as a person and your relationship and so on, he's going to be scared to do the surgery. He's going to be scared to cut you because he cares about you being in pain. He's going to be scared to hurt you because of this, because of that. He's not going to be a good surgeon. Hence the reason why a father is not supposed to give a surgery to his son and the son not to give surgery to his father. Why? There's emotions there. Those emotions are going to steer the decision one way or the other. Now, a person that is a good surgeon is many times not going to have good bedside manner. Meaning he's not going to be very friendly. Why? He's disconnected from people. He just simply looks at facts. Half the heart's not working. I got to work on that heart. Yeah, but what about the guy who's going to be in pain? That's not my business. Well, you're cutting him. He's going to have a scar there. Scar, no scar. If I don't fix it, he's going to die. I don't care about the scar. I have to cut here, cut there, cut there, in order to save his life. Yeah, what about? Nothing what about. I got to save the life. That's it. So a good surgeon is going to look at what it is. Now, does that mean they should be nasty to you? No. Like the doctor I saw last week probably has a place waiting for him somewhere. Why? He wasn't giving me a surgery, but he was still nasty. But there are some people like that. They're just nasty naturally. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when he's in the middle of a surgery, there's no like high fives and what's up and what's going on and how was your weekend. I'm looking at it, it doesn't make a difference who this person is. There's a heart, there's a lung, there's a leg, there's an arm, there's a whatever, I gotta do my job, finished. Same thing if somebody goes in a mission, special mission for an army, sniper. The sniper is not allowed to start thinking about his target's family, his target's personal interests, his target's hobbies. He's not allowed. Why? He's the target. I gotta go, shoot, leave. Yeah, what about all the chaos that's going to happen after that as a result of this guy dying now? You know, his family's going to cry. His daughter was waiting for her to pick him up from school. His best friend is really going to buy him a present. All this stuff, that's not my business. Why? I got a job. This guy is danger to the public. He's danger to society. He's a target. I have a mission. I got to shoot. I got to leave. Bye. The second your emotions get involved, you can no longer do the job. Now, le'avdil, a Jew that wants to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu at the highest level must look at his emunah, must look at his bitachon, must look at his avodat Hashem, no different than the greatest surgeon in the world looks at his patient. No different than a sniper looks at his suspect, at his victim, at his target. You have to be focused on it and it alone. Which means you have to remove as many of the emotions that you could possibly remove in order to analyze and dissect the situation for what it is. The less emotions you have and more facts, the easier it's going to be for you to do the right thing. Doesn't mean you need to be emotionless. Emotions are part of the choice of how you're going to affect people, how it's going to affect you, and so on, but you're analyzing the emotions rather than being emotional about the actions. If I do this, this and this is going to happen emotionally. If I do that, this and this is going to happen emotionally. Not start crying before you did anything. So a person has to become, and he has to understand of the creation, his responsibility, of acquiring emunah and bitachon, first requires him to understand what the difference is. Now, emunah is understanding that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one that's running the world. He is the one that broke Corona. He is the one that brought the Holocaust. He is the one that brought iPhones. He's the one that brought electricity. He's the one that brought the whole world. He's the one that brought all people, the Jews and the non-Jews. He's the one that created all animals. He's the one that monitors everything, and so on and so forth. That's emunah. Understanding that HaKadosh Baruch Hu runs the world. Bitachon is having a clarity that also He's going to help you too. It's more specific. Emunah is understanding the general picture of how HaKadosh Baruch Hu runs the world and you fit within that world. Bitachon is that He's going to specifically help you, having the confidence that He's going to help you specifically. Now, a person that has emunah, meaning has an understanding that HaKadosh Baruch Hu runs the world, created all creation, satiates all creation, and so on, a person that has emunah doesn't necessarily have bitachon. But a person that has bitachon surely has emunah. Because if you believe that Hashem will help you, and you have bitachon, surely you have an understanding that Hashem helps the rest of the world too, unless you're a sociopath. And then that means that your bitachon is not bitachon, but rather some other mental condition. So the point is that the Chazon Ish says here now that he looks up at the sky in wonder and down to the depths of the earth, and he's moved and astounded. Meaning that in order to have emunah, you have to pay attention to the creation. Look at the sky and how big it is. Do you ever pay attention to how big the sky is? I don't usually look up to the sky, but whenever I go, walking with my wife, sometimes it's a pretty sky, and you look up and you see, it's always my wife and I always amazed how huge the sky is. And you only realize how big it is when it's like a little tiny little plane. Because you look at it up, it's like nothing there. Let's say there's no clouds and everything, or even if there's big clouds, you have no concept of how big the clouds are. They look like you grab them, it's like little marshmallows or something. Doesn't look like much. But then when you see a plane that's massive, 4, 5, 6, 700 people on this plane. It looks like a little tiny dot in the middle of the sky. You realize how massive the sky is. And that's only what you could see, not all the sky. When a person understands the extraordinary size of this world, and then understand that this huge world is not even a dot in the grand scheme of things in the universe. Not even a dot. There's a famous short video of some picture of the entire universe or galaxy, and they show the a viewpoint of a person standing, looking at the stars, and then they look at the stars and they see this is like a Milky Way of some kind, and they go into the Milky Way, and then they analyze each and every single part from the telescope, and it shows you literally the universe, and then you go back and see that, forget Earth, the whole universe we live in is nothing in comparison to everything. Nothing. And this is Hashem's chair. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Hashemayim kis'i. The heavens are like my chair, my throne. When you realize how big things are, you have to be a hater of all rules and all rulers to remain an atheist. There's no way you're an atheist and still understand the significance of the world. Everything it's so big, it's so massive, but yet at the same time so perfect that it cannot come from nothing. Which means that the conclusion that an atheist arrives at, that everything came from nothing and then there's no God, in their stupid mentality, is not because they really believe that there's no God. It's because they don't want there to be a God. Now, Ba'al Emunah, a person that has Emunah, has to do the exact opposite of an atheist, which is to look for God in everything. Analyze the creation and the creation, not just the things that, like the sky and the mountains, but the things around you, even people. Analyze the things and understand that God is in everything and cares about everything. He cares enough about this person that may or may not be Jewish in order to feed this person, in order to give this person air every day so he could live. He cares enough about this person that you don't even know this person's name, but Hashem cares enough about this person to give them oxygen every day. Despite the huge, enormous world that He created, He still takes time, if you will, to give this little nothing person that could be you oxygen so you could live today. He takes enough time out of his day, not that he's subject to time, to make sure that somebody buys something from you so you have money to go buy food. And he makes sure that this food was created in such a way that it has taste, that matches the palates of your tongue and you find it favorable. He cares enough about not only you, but He cares enough about that you will have the right receptors react to this specific food so you actually like this food that your wife happened to cook. Why? Because if you like your wife's cooking, that's going to help Shlom Bayit. He cares so much about your Shlom Bayit that He manipulates the receptors on your tongue to like her awful cooking. Because nobody else likes her cooking, but you do. I know somebody like this. Don't worry, it's not me. My wife's cooking is amazing. But I know somebody like this. His wife's cooking, I wouldn't feed it to prisoners. God bless her. She's a very nice woman. Very nice woman. But her cooking, Hashem Yishmor V'Yatzil. Hashem Yishmor V'Yatzil. I've never, I mean, honestly, Hashem Yishmor. Horrible. Horrible. But every time I see a husband eating his wife's cooking, I know the guy, he's not lying. He loves her cooking. Everyone else suffers, kaparat avonot, at least 5-10 years off of Gehenom for each meal. And the funny thing is, they like having guests too. Everyone suffers from our cooking, but a husband eats it, chomps it. Oh, wow, it's like the greatest thing in the world. That's HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's HaKadosh Baruch Hu manipulating his sensors on his tongue to like her cooking. Why? That creates Shalom Bayit. That's Emunah. Emunah is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to care enough about that. You have to look for HaKadosh Baruch Hu in everything. Everything. What could you see that's good in coronavirus? One simple thing, there was a bunch of businesses that were doing really, really well for years already. Technology companies, the weapons, all these things are doing great for years. But there's one industry that's been struggling for over a decade, maybe even 2 decades. An industry that we need, but is always on the verge of bankruptcy, which is supermarkets. When I was in a business, we invested in some supermarkets, and it was an awful investment, to say the least. Why? Supermarkets suck. They're the worst business in the world. Worst. Why? They work off of tiny little profit margins, 3% at best, which means that anything goes wrong, supermarket goes bankrupt. They have a huge amount of debt, which they depend on to continue buying more and more inventory. And the second something goes wrong, that's it, supermarket goes bankrupt. It's the worst business on the planet, but we all need it. Especially in America, where you're accustomed to huge giant stores. It's not the same thing in every country, by the way. Just so you guys know, if you didn't leave the country, it's not the same thing in every country. Don't go to different countries and expect this giant stores that you have here that's like pretty much normal business. Many places don't have that. But anyway, point is that supermarkets are a horrible, horrible business. And they've been a horrible business. And they've been struggling for decades, and they pretty much are just staying alive just because of the need. But every few years they go bankrupt, somebody buys them, the whole thing. But right now, fantastic times. Why? Everybody's buying everything. It's giving them a little boost. It's giving them a little boost. Supermarkets are announcing, listen, we're selling 2.5 times what we normally sell. It's fantastic for them. HaKadosh Baruch Hu decided he wants to give them more parnasah. Why? I have no idea. But he wants to give them more parnasah. Now surely there's many other businesses that are struggling as a result of it. But don't only look at the negative. Emunah is to look at everything. The good, the bad, the ugly. Understand that all of it is from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. All of it. When a person looks down to the depths of the earth, he's moved and astounded, the Chazon Ish says. The more details you look at in the creation, the more astounded you are by the Creator Himself. You look at the things that you have in this world, and you realize there are 2 things that we need in order to have life. In order to have life, there are 2 things that are needed. 1, you need to have air to breathe, oxygen. And 2, you need to have water. This is how they know other planets don't have life in them. There's no water. Now, what are the 2 things that there's an abundance of in the world? Those 2 things. Those 2 things. But it's the right amount though. Meaning it's abundant, but it's exactly the amount that we need at the same time. If you had a little bit more oxygen in the world will become explosive. You light a cigarette, boom! World explodes. A little more oxygen. I mean, it's the perfect amount. We need a lot of it, We need it to be abundant because there's a lot of people and it's growing. But at the same token, it can't be too much. By degrees. You analyze that, you see, Shtabach Shimo, it's unbelievable. You analyze where the world is, where the globe is, in comparison to where the sun is. You realize that if we were a little bit closer, the whole world would go on fire. Everything would dry up. A little further, the whole world would freeze. We're not talking about another 30 degrees, another 20. No, we're talking 1 degree difference. 1 degree this way, 1 degree that way. Meaning it's abundant, it's huge, it's enormous, but despite the massive scale of everything, it's precise. That's one of the reasons why Torah and science, for example, for anyone that's open-minded to see the reality of life and not just look for a way to abandon God because some scientist said otherwise, is a very interesting subject. Because you see the beauty of creation and thereby see the beauty of the Creator, which helps the Emunah. Because if the Creator cares enough for all of the different vegetables to taste differently and to also be different colors in order to repel certain bugs that like that particular fruit, or in order to preserve the fruit, in order to make it more attractive for you, in order to make it less attractive for the predator of that thing, and in order to make it taste better or taste worse, or to symbolize a certain taste. Every one of these things in creation symbolizes something. It's not just yellow just because it's yellow. It's not all green just because it's green. Like everything has a reason in it, and the more you analyze it, the more beautiful the creation is, and thereby you see how beautiful the Creator is because He cared enough about you to create it that way. He could have simply made Lego food. No taste, doesn't matter what color it is, and you have to eat it. You could have just made Lego, gray Lego, your food. Hashem Yishmo. That woman's food is a little worse than Lego, but anyway, you could have made that. But anyway, her husband likes it. Don't make fun. Allah's husband likes it. You may not like it. My husband likes it. HaKadosh Baruch Hu cares. HaKadosh Baruch Hu cares enough to make your food taste a certain way, look a certain way. If He cares about the food, why don't you think He cares about you? So, the world seems to Him an impenetrable, wondrous mystery. One which engulfs his heart and his mind to the point that he almost loses his senses, and no breath of life is left in him. Meaning, the more you delve into the creation, the Chazon Ish says you have to be so enamored by it. It's so amazing that you must lose your breath. It's like, Hashem, I can't believe you did this for me. And that's what Chazal says. Chazal says, you're supposed to say the whole world was created for me. And that's not being arrogant. It's not being arrogant. No, it's not the mentality, oh, the whole world revolves around me. No, that's not what we're saying. The whole world was created for me, meaning for me to enjoy. You are allowed to enjoy the creation. And that's why there's special brachot for different things. Seeing beautiful things, smelling beautiful smells, and so on and so forth. There's blessings for it. But you must make a blessing, meaning it's not just enjoying the creation without acknowledging the Creator, though. You must acknowledge the Creator through your enjoyment of creation. But if you're just enjoying the creation and not acknowledging the Creator, then all you are is a thief, the Gemara says. That's not Emunah. That's stealing. So, when a person starts acknowledging the creation, whether he's in the business world or he's in the fields, in the mountains, he has to see the beauty of things. I like business, and it always amazes me that when you drive down a highway, whether it's here or anywhere else, you see these shopping centers. Now, I ran a business, and Bezat Hashem is also a business, even though it's non-profit, it's a business. And I know a little bit about business. And running a business is not easy. You know, everybody wants a business until it's time to pay the bills. You know, everyone wants employees until you have to pay them and deal with their headaches. Running a business is not easy. But it always amazes me that when I drive down the highway, especially here in Florida, there's pretty much like there's nobody in the streets. There's just cars. And you go to the mall, and there's, you know, I don't go to the mall here, but, you know, I remember I used to go to the mall, and those cars in the parking lot. And you go here, there's pretty much, shopping centers are pretty much like malls here, I guess. And I think a big part of America is similar to that, where there's these shopping centers, and there's these stores in the middle of nowhere, and there's like 6 cars in this huge parking lot that can fit 5,000. There's like 6 cars, and 5 of them are employees. And you go to the shopping center because you need to get, I don't know, soap or something. And there's a store that sells that soap or that medicine or that, I don't know, screw that you need. And it's in the middle of one of these shopping centers, and it's pretty much, you're the only customer they've seen all day. You know what amazes me? That they stay in business. It amazes me how Kadosh Baruch Hu sends each one of these stores just enough money to stay in business. It's unbelievable to me. You drive in these stores, there's no customers. You never see the customers. But apparently they have enough customers to stay in business. And it doesn't matter what business they're in. They could be fixing shoes. They could be putting tattoos on people. They could be selling screws. They could be fixing clocks. Like, who wants their clock fixed? Why do you care about clocks? Go buy a new one. But there's somebody that needs the clock fixed. And there's a guy that has a business that fixes clocks. Or there's business that fixes books. Like, who fixes books anymore? Just buy another one on Amazon. It's $20, buddy. It's going to cost you $15 to fix it. No, I want my book fixed. It's unbelievable. It's all these strange businesses. And they have money to survive. It's amazing that a Kadosh Baruch Hu runs the world in such a way that he gives the clock fixer and the screw salesman and the car salesman and the tomato salesman and all of these people just enough money to live, and many of them prosper. It's unbelievable. And don't think it's the internet. They were surviving long before the internet. Imagine, there's a guy, all day he fixes watches. Like, if you ask me, you're crazy if you open some shop to fix watches. Why would anybody come to you to fix a watch? Like, okay, you know what? Let's say some people need their watch fixed, but how many? Enough to pay rent, $5,000 a month? Are you out of your mind? You know how many watches you got to fix to get $5,000 a month for rent? And you have 3 employees? How many watches are you going to get? The whole country's watches? But guess what? Hashem sends him parnasah. Hashem sends him parnasah. Or like this store, Michael's. I don't know if you guys heard of it. This store, Michael's. I remember in New York they had it. It sells like little tchotchkes. Like, I don't know, all types of like stuff. Arts and craft stuff. These little strange things that people create to I don't know, make all types of arts and crafts. Now, if you asked me, I think whoever made that store has to be crazy. Like, why would anybody want to go buy these things? But guess what? He's not crazy. He's a genius. Why? Because the store became a multi-billion-dollar business. Maybe it went bankrupt by now, but at some point it was a multi-billion-dollar company. And things change. But point is, at some point it was a multi-billion-dollar company, meaning Hashem sent this guy billions of dollars, not just parnasah, billions of dollars worth of tchotchkes, worth of shtuyot that you glue on a cup just to satisfy your 4-year-old kid for the next 15 minutes. It's unbelievable. It's seriously, you think about it, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, with all of his creation, he has so many things to do. He cares enough about this guy that has this crazy idea to sell little cups that are color blue, green, and yellow for some kindergarten teacher to buy. and put a string in it, and so she can hang it and tell the kids it's I don't know, it's robots or something. I don't know, like whatever they make up. But somebody's gonna buy this. Or guess what? Even more. What about the guy that made the screw, or the guy that made the cups, that sold it to Michaels? Like, who would think to make these things? These little strings, like somebody just woke up one day, you know what? I want to make a bunch of strings. I'm going to make 100 million strings. For what? I don't know, maybe Michael's going to buy it. Like, why would you make it? What gave you the idea to make these weird strings and buttons? For who? For what? Or these sprinkles, like who's going to buy sprinkles? But guess what? People buy it. Why? Because the Kadosh Baruch Hu said he needs panasah. I'm going to make you want sprinkles, but only the blue ones that he has, not the green ones that the guy next to you has, because he has enough money. That's how precise the Creator is. The more you delve into it, in the things you like, the more you see the beauty of the Creator. Now, you may not like business, it may not interest you. Whatever your field is, analyze your field, and you'll see how beautiful the Creator is. It's unbelievable. It's truly unbelievable how amazing the creation is. To think that it all came from nothing, you have to hate all rules and rulers. It has nothing to do with believing with a Creator, because it is impossible that you've actually thought about it and still arrived at the conclusion that there's no Creator. Impossible.